John Penrose.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I must confess, when I heard the front bench speaker for the Labour Party begin her remarks, my heart soared, because it felt as though, it sounded as though there's an outbreak of agreement and peace right the way across on all sides of the aisle, that we all agree we've got to get on with this. That's wonderful. We all agree now on the number of MPs that we're going to have. Also wonderful. But then, rather like the member for my honourable friend for Dartford, I started to think, well, hang on a second. If we agree on so much, how come there's a reasoned amendment about this? How can that be the case? And what I come back to is the point I made earlier on in an intervention, which is I just worry that people looking into this place from outside will see a bunch of MPs arguing their own book and not being really honest about it. And it's the point made earlier by the Father of the House, saying that it is very, very difficult for any Parliament, this one or any previous one, to talk about boundaries without seeming to be mired in self-interest. It's extremely difficult to do, and it is very, very noticeable that the times when this process comes unstuck is when either the proposals from the Independent Boundary Commission are so contrary to the government of the day that they start looking for excuses not to pass them, or alternatively, when the government of the day doesn't have enough of a majority, as happened repeatedly over the last couple of years, in order to get it through, and the majority of the self-interest of the House beyond the government operates to stop the bill, the statutory instrument going through. None of that, Mr Deputy Speaker, none of that makes our democracy look good, none of that makes MPs look good, none of that makes Parliament look good. Because there's an old saying about the difference between a hedgehog and a fox. A hedgehog knows one big thing, and the fox knows many small things. And I think that we need to remember, and be more like the hedgehog here, we need to remember that there is one big thing that matters above all, which is fairness and equal weight of votes. It's all very well to say, yes, but there are all these other technical problems, and there are. There are definitely technical problems with getting enough people to register on time and to stay registered. There are definitely all sorts of issues around that, and we need to fix those. But it isn't good enough for us to stand here today or on any previous Parliament or any Parliament in future and say that's an excuse not to have fairness and equal votes at all. To use that as an excuse, as I mentioned before in the prayer of St Augustine, to give me chastity and continence, Lord, but not yet. It is time, it is past time, it is now that we need to do this, and we need to lock it in, and we need to make sure that future parliaments cannot act, no matter who's in government, cannot act out of self-interest to try and scupper this fundamental, basic point about our democracy. If this is not right, then our democracy's credibility, our democracy's fundamental fairness and underpinnings is fatally weakened and undermined, and we have gone on too long without fixing it. It is time and past time we do it, and therefore I shall be supporting this. And I would urge the Labour Party to reconsider its position and to cleave to this idea and to accept it, while at the same time, as the Father of the House said earlier on, it is up to my side as well to say we must accept that there are other less important but still crucial points about trying to make sure that we get our registration process right, that we get better voting rules as well. Because if we can do both those things, then we will have a democracy which works and which we can be proud of. We don't accept that there's a trade-off between security and accuracy when we do online banking. We shouldn't do it, for example, when we are voting at the polling booth